Now going to question 13, here we're being given an ABC quadratic and we're being asked about the factors. So let's talk for a moment about BC and ABC factoring. So the standard form of a quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c. And if you see numbers in the B and C spots, for instance here, 7 and 10, then you need two numbers that add to B and multiply to C. So two numbers that add to 7 and multiply to 10. So in this example here, the two numbers that do that are 2 and 5. So once you find those numbers, then you're basically done. You'd have x plus 2, x plus 5, and that's your answer for BC factoring. Now, if you have numbers in the A, B, and C spots, like this, here we have numbers here, here, and here. There, you need two numbers that add to B and multiply to AC. So for us, that means two numbers that add to 13, which is B, and multiply to 30, which is AC, 2 times 15. And by the way, the two numbers that do that are 10 and 3. So we'll take the middle term, which is 13x, and we'll break that down to two terms, 10x and 3x. Next, you can do factor by grouping. We can factor the first two and then factor the second two. So that's the factor by grouping method where you're choosing to only factor the first two at first. So what's the greatest common factor for 2x squared and 10x? It would be 2x. If you factor that out, it leaves you with x plus 5. And the greatest common factor for 3x and 15 is 3. If you factor that out, it leaves you with x plus 5. So now we're left with two terms, this one, and they both have a factor of x plus 5. So if you take that out, you'll have x plus 5 right here. And what does it leave you with? 2x plus 3. So that's how you do ABC factoring. Now coming over here, our A is 3, our B is 20, our C is negative 63. So we need two numbers that add to B and multiply to AC. So in other words, they need to add to 20 and multiply to 3 times negative 63, 189, negative. So what two numbers add to 20 and multiply to negative 189? To start that process, you would take what they multiplied to and divide it by everything you can. So 189, of course, divides by 1. 189 divides by 3. It doesn't divide by 4 or by 5 or even by 6, but it divides by 7. 189 is 7 times 27. So what two numbers add to positive 20 and multiply to negative 189? That would be negative 7 and positive 27. So we're going to break that middle term down into negative 7 and positive 27. So this is going to be written in two parts now. We'll write 3x squared minus 7x plus 27x minus 63. So now the order doesn't matter. I could have written plus 27x minus 7x. That would have been fine. But the factor by grouping part is saying that we're looking for a GCF here, a greatest common factor, and a GCF here. So what's the greatest common factor between 3x squared and negative 7x? And that's just x. Factor that out, you'd have 3x minus 7. And the common factor between 27 and negative 63, 27x and negative 63, that's going to be 9. And when you factor 9 out of those two, you'll have 3x minus 7. So now we have two terms, just like in our example, that both have a factor of 3x minus 7. So if we factor out the 3x minus 7, what remains is x plus 9. So there was a factor of 3x minus 7, but there was not a factor of x plus 9 in the given choices. The one they gave us was x minus 9. So it was almost the right answer for part number 1 there, but part number 2 was correct. That's why the answer here is B.